Going just the most fascinating calls. Y'all have really just done an incredible job on the show today. If you'll give me a minute, let me reset. I'll go back to Shirley's call, reset what we're doing, and a couple of headlines, and then we'll move on with our Friday. We're just about done. Rain coming in overnight. Could be a little stormy for parts of the state. Not like what we had a couple of days ago, but just keep an eye on the skies this weekend. We do need it, even though we've had all this break in the rain. We still are under drought conditions. All American Metals next up here on the show. They had an incredible sale this week. Sad to say it's over, unless John and them call me and say they've got stuff left over and they're going to continue it next week, where they had all this overrun product and things they'd produced for projects over a period of time that started to stack up, and they put it on discount. These are good folks like that. It was a way to help them clear out some inventory. You don't always get to go to a place like this and buy stuff off the shelf. In their daytime job before they did that sale this week, they'll just absolutely get an entire building designed for you, no matter what your application, whether it's on the lower sort of residential end of things. Like I have a pole barn. I mean, it's not a small pole barn, but it's not as big as some of y'all's projects. They can handle that stuff. And I've told you over and over again, I wish I had known about these guys when I built mine. I sort of chipped away at it with different people and could have had it done turnkey like the way they do it at All American. These are still people that go back to the 1960s. They know this stuff inside and out. They produce and control the whole process. They produce their own, all the structure that's involved, the support structure, the primary, the secondary framing that you're going to need, all the panels, all the steel roofing and steel wall panels, and insulation packages and sealants and doors and screws and bolts and clips and stuff I wouldn't even think about. They produce all of it themselves in their factories here in Alabama. And that means they control it all the way to your project site. They're going to help you with design work. Once you've got it all figured out and got everything lined up with your permitting and whatnot, they will hit go on the start button, whatever they do. I picture a big green button on John's desk, and they go, put that package together. Then they produce all your components, put it on their trucks, and get it to your site, and it's going to fit because they're hands-on and local. If something isn't right, they're right here. They'll make it right. That's the beauty of dealing with good local folks. It's All American Metals. If you want to look at some of the buildings, all the way up to gigantic commercial projects, there's nothing too big for them. They can make it. They can help you build it. It's aa-metal.com, aa-metal.com. Y'all go reach out to them if you're going to grow this year or do a project of your own. All right, so quick headlines. On the redistricting, Alabama did push through a bill to give the governor the authority to put off the primary elections long enough to redraw the maps if the court rules in Alabama's favor. We don't know if that means a 6-0 or a 6-1 or a 7-0 map. I think they're leaning towards 6-1 because that's a default map that had already had approval. I think some think that's the fastest way. It's not the most aggressive thing. Yet the Democrats rolled around on the floor and cried like a bunch of babies. It's justice when they go in and redraw a state to their benefit. It is racist or segregationist if Alabama does it on their own without their help. Either way, y'all get the hypocrisy of all of it. The other big story for the D's today were their Supreme Court threw out their highly gerrymandered map. They were just, again, doing what the red states are doing, the blue states trying to take advantage. The problem is they skipped a step. You can't do that. They didn't follow their own process. The Democrats spent anywhere from $60 to $80 million trying to shove this in, and snake eyes, nothing. So that's funny on the face of it, but not quite as funny as this Utah judge that just had to resign her position. She just gave the Democrats a favorable ruling on a district fight in the state of Utah, and I hadn't followed Utah. It's not a very big state. I'll be spending some time there this summer. Looking forward to the trip. Weird politics out there, though, and it's always an anomaly to look up and see Democrats getting an advantage with districts in a state like Utah. Well, now it's starting to make sense. The attorney that was arguing the case for the Democrats, who was able to successfully win, was also giving it to the judge on the side. Y'all know what I'm saying? Playing a little game of pound the gavel, hide the subpoena, whatever. You can't make this stuff up. So she's had to step down. Bob and one of the lawyers that just argued a huge political case. Will that affect the maps in Utah now? Will they get a rehearing under fair circumstances? I don't know. Maybe he wasn't that good at it. I'm just saying. Hell of a day if you're on the other side of politics for me today. And I'm enjoying watching them squirm. It's been outstanding. The other stuff, we're still back and forth about Iran. I don't think anything's settled over the weekend. Speaking of Utah, we got another ruling out of Utah just a second ago. The judge in the Charlie Kirk murder case has said that cameras will be allowed in the courtroom for the duration of the trial. I think that's important in the conspiracy theory world in which we live, for people to be able to sit and watch the evidence be presented. A lot of folks will still watch the highlights and make up conspiracy theories about what happened here. But it'd be real nice for people to actually see what a jury sees and to be sort of technically in the courtroom. The thing is already a spectacle. Charlie Kirk's widow and those that supported him wanted this the whole time. Others, the defense, of course, did not. But cameras will be in the courtroom. Boy, that is going to be nonstop. I don't even know when the case might come to trial. But that is going to be nonstop if it does that. I got a sense this kid may plead out, but who knows? Okay, that's going to do it. Let's go back to Shirley. Here's what we're talking about. If you just got in the car and you think we've all lost our minds, the government today has released the first batch of what we call the UFO files. This is video and still shots and other items that the government's been holding for years and years. Some of this goes back decades on unexplained aerial phenomena, UFOs, anything that has come to the attention of the military or otherwise that the government can't figure out what it is. And it's not earth shaking, but it's weird. It's completely weird. Some of these objects seem to move and behave in ways that don't make any sense. Some of it could be explained, I guess, down the road. So that has set off a heck of a discussion here on the show as the government says there will be more revelations. Some say it'll be kind of jaw-dropping. Others will say, big yawn. Again, I don't think you're going to see E.T. hanging out eating some Reese's Pieces, chatting with us. But it could be something that challenges our thinking about whatever is out there. So what is out there? Immediately, folks of the Christian faith, and I suppose by extension, the Jewish faith, have a reference point on this, and that's the book of Enoch and even biblical teachings. That is a lot of which a lot of people in this audience are pretty, I guess you would say, scholarly on or curious about or collected a lot of information. All that escapes me. I've not followed all that. I got friends that are into all that, I guess, prophecy or telling of the spirit world and what these are. So if I had to oversimplify it, and trust me, I'm oversimplifying it, you've got some people saying these are clearly demons and spirits that come from this and that's referenced in the Bible. There are others that would take a scientific approach and go, well, of course there's probably aliens from other planets. It's impossible that we'd be the only thing alive in the whole universe. It's so vast we can't even get our minds around it. And then there's calls like one of my previous calls that said, it could be true that God created all that. We just didn't get into it in the Bible. He created heavens. He created the earth. The Bible's about the earth. So what? He's still going to be strong in his faith. So I think people feel a little defensive that maybe these revelations could challenge faith itself in its understanding. Others stand behind how they've always seen it with these revelations or not. So it's provoked a conversation. I've learned a lot about some of the theories that I haven't paid attention to over all these years, and I appreciate all the calls. One of those calls was Shirley, who was going into something a little bit different. It's Shirley, did you say it was a documentary or a series or
it
something?
It was a series on the History Channel, and
History
in fact,
Channel.
they're going into their 6th or 7th season toward the end of May, I think the 19th. And one of our own Alabama Huntsville-based scientists, he works for NASA and the Department of Defense, is one of the team leader, I think, of this group of scientists. There was a man named Robert Bigelow that owned over a 500-acre ranch in Utah, and he was very interested because all the strange things happening on his property, and he wanted to find out more about what, if the paranormal or if it was aliens, whatever. He ended up selling the ranch to a millionaire. I can't remember I think the guy's name, Brandon Siegel. And this guy hired all these scientists, and Travis Taylor was one of the lead of the team. And they have a station building where it looks like inside of a traffic control of the airport. And they have all types of equipment. They'll go out on different parts of the acreage where they're picking up signals. Like they would take their computers and their LiDAR units and all this, and they would set it on this frequency that I think military and traffic control use, and you wouldn't believe the activity that would start jumping up and down graphs on their equipment. They had a helicopter pilot. They would do experiments in the air around certain areas, and there was a mesa, and they found they were seeing a very large round shape something in it, and they drilled in it. This is just one of the fascinating things that you'll see if you go back and if you can pick up some of these like a year or two back on this series and stream it.
Well, let me ask you this. What's the name of the series again?
Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch. The Indian population named it Skinwalker. That was some type of I don't know, ethereal person they thought would be 1 foot on the other side.
Well, we've got something here in Alabama that I think the sightings have been around Walker County, some other counties. We talked about it on the show before. They call it the White Walker. It's this real bright.
I was not familiar with that.
It's the Alabama White Walker, and that's not what you think it is. But it's I don't know what to make of it. But we've every now and then back in the day. Hey, thanks for holding over, Shirley. I'm going to move quickly because we're going to run out of time, and I got so many calls. Back in the day, we'd have, especially on Fridays, we'd have fun with UFOs and Bigfoot stories and crazy stuff. And what did we used to call it, AJ? Not Freaky Friday. What did we used to call that?
Fringe Friday.
Fringe Friday. That's what it was. So if you had fringe theories, thank you, AJ. If you had fringe theories or something kooky that you believe that you don't think anybody, we just let it fly. But this has a different sense to it because of these files coming out and the other stuff that's in the news. It's just been kind of weird lately. And so it's really what triggered the whole conversation today was the government's release right here on this Friday. And by the way, they're saying there's much more to come. It's going to blow your mind. I'm doubtful. And I don't think, anyway, let's go to Kyle in Hoover. I want to be fair to the callers, and I do appreciate the patience of people that have been holding this afternoon. Kyle, what you got on your mind?
Hey, what's up, Leland? Two things on this. First of all, on the Book of Enoch, people have to be very careful. If they really want a good explanation of the Book of Enoch on YouTube, there's a guy named Wes Huff. I mean, he's world-renowned. He knows everything about manuscripts, everything. He goes into the Book of Enoch, and he explains the reason why it's not in the Bible or even in the Old Jewish Testament, because Enoch was the name of Noah's dad. This book was not put, or wasn't. They can't find anything on it except around, I think it's 200 BC, and they're saying that the other parts are added later. So that's why they don't put a lot of stock in it, because of the fact of it was written well after Genesis and Deuteronomy and all these other things. Now, regarding the UFOs, here's my thing. One of my best friends in high school, his dad was retired Air Force, and we were joking around one time about UFOs, and he just sat us down and he said, look, he says, I'm going to explain something to you so you don't sound like an idiot. And I was like, well, too late for me. He basically explained, he says, look at the word, what UFO means. It's an unidentified flying object. He says, every one of our planes and everything, we have transponders, we have things that it'll read, and it can tell you what it is, what type of plane, what country it's from, anything. Here's the thing, he says, that people don't understand. Anything that goes flying through the air and you can't identify it, it's an unidentified flying object. That doesn't mean it's an alien. He says that's where he gets angry, because everybody has now associated, oh, that's aliens. That's got to be aliens. He's like, no. He says there were times, he says, we actually had to take courses on it, where in the 50s, there was, I can't remember the name of the pilot, but he was actually trying, he saw this object. If it was and during the day was trying to go towards it, and eventually he ran out of gas, and the plane crashed, and I think he died trying to eject. Well, what they found out later, he kept saying it's unidentified. I can't figure out what it is. Well, they found out later it was a weather balloon, and it was so high up, and he kept trying to get towards it. Well, that's what I think people have to remember. Now, is that what's all in this file? I'm like you. I don't know. I don't know what's going to say in it, but I don't think there's these little green men with 2 arms, 2 legs, and gigantic heads riding around in metal saucers all over the place. The reason why, to me, it's like you're going to sit here and tell me that these beings, for some weird reason, are able to do all of this stuff, but for some reason they're coming here to study us. Why? Have they been there before? I mean,
it could be a film crew. It could be a film crew. You know, like we'll send some guy out into the Serengeti to film the animals, and he hides, tries to blend in, doesn't want to spook, but wants to observe. Maybe they're just checking us out, and it's pay-per-view back on their planet, and it's total comedy. It's like the
crocodile hunter.
Exactly.
Crikey, look at this. In a natural
I'm going to take my finger and stick it in his bum just to piss him off. I mean, yeah.
Well, the thing that's funny though is I actually found out today. Apparently, now they're saying the Democrats are already offering them free gift cards and also free schooling. Come here and basically give them jobs.
They're coming here to start Leering centers. They found out the money's good. Thank you, Kyle. Kyle and I are always going to drift politics right back into the middle of it. Alabama Gold Refinery bringing you the show tonight. AGR. This is a place to go be able to exchange your metals, and you can buy from Steve. You can sell to Steve. You can trade with them. It's just such a great place to have a fair place to get value and to be able to exchange value. Safe location, central location over in Homewood across from the Regions Bank. Now, y'all know the pitch. Any bonehead can tell you forever. Advisors have told us, have some precious metals in the things that you own. And there should be a healthy mix. You should own a little real estate, have a little stock market, have some precious metals, other things. There are different things that people invest in. Look around me. I put it in musical instruments. Maybe too much. But AGR will deal with your gold and with your silver and your platinum in a fair way. And I always consider it an education because Steve knows so much about how this stuff tracks. I mean, you talk about some of the biblical references we've had on the show tonight. The gold value can be tracked. It's mentioned in the Bible. It was used in those days, and the value, if you trace it to today, is still the same. It holds its own. Y'all check it out at AGR, AlabamaGoldRefinery.com. Back in a minute. Y'all, Alabama Dental Associates ready to get you lined up and straightened out. Y'all get over there and do your cleanings, do your x-rays, do all the things. They're open until 7 at night. They did that intentionally. They designed their practice so we could all get in there in the off hours. Open until 7, open until 6. And it's not just some fly-by-night place that does that. These are some of the best dentists in the industry, 4 different specialties. It's everything you want, all the equipment, all the investment in diagnostic tools, even things that happen that fall in the field of dentistry, snoring and teeth grinding stuff I wouldn't think about. They can handle that for you at Alabama Dental Associates. You can get your appointment at alabamadental.com, alabamadental.com. Let's jump over here to Dan in Birmingham. What do you know, Dan?
Leland, I don't have enough time, but I can wrap it up real quick. Leland?
Yeah, I'm listening to you, bro.
Yeah, okay. So I listened to the whole show, and I can answer a bunch of your questions. So the people that are talking about the Book of Enoch, right? You got to think about what the Book of Enoch was. And mainly the largest study of the Book of Enoch came from the Dead Sea Scrolls, which was a radical sect of Judaism, right, that had this cave like way back in the day, and they just stuffed it full of literature. And curious to the date that they found it was in 1947 after World War II in Israel, okay? So the Book of Enoch, when it was not added to the canon, we've heard this a lot throughout the show, the canon is the accepted books. We haven't heard it a lot because if you look at when the King James Version of the Bible started, and King James of England, which was England where the sun never set on England. At the time in 1604, the sun never set on England. They had a tea trade. They had the best weaponry. They had the best physics, the best whatever. And, dude, like, that's when it happened, okay? And, like, you see this, but in 1604, which was the greatest population at the time concentrated in England, they ruled out the Book of Enoch. All these people that are reading the Book of Enoch, look, it's speculation, and it's always been speculation right now, and it's speculation back in 1604. But let me bring it back to America because we're celebrating 250, right? Rome fell in 336. Like, dude, no nation has lasted this long except the ancient Egypt. But let me bring it back. So it's all speculation, and angels and demons are real, bro. This is the great Servath, okay? So honestly, Leland, look, people that think the rapture happens and then no Christian has to go through, like, the tribulation, okay, we all have to deal with tribulation, right? So angels and demons are real, and 100%, guys, this is a distraction. Because false prophets are going to proclaim miracles. It's not alien. It's good and bad, man. Spiritual.
All right, dude. Hey, I got you. Good call, Dan. There we go. Y'all, it's like the spiritual Feinbaum show now. Callers debating each other over this stuff. That's fun. Good stuff. 30 more minutes of it. Bring what you got. Everybody's got an opinion. Aliens or not. Aliens or demons. Back here in a minute. Stockton Mortgage bringing you the show tonight. Sometimes Thomas joins us. Sometimes he's busy. I'm taking over now. I think he's traveling a little bit this week. But, dude, these guys work all the time. And here's my best advice. You can find a lot out online. The minute you hit send on a search over a mortgage, you're going to get hammered. And if you go somewhere, and I get it all the time, if you go somewhere and just apply, they'll tease you and say, check your rate now. No commitment. And the minute you fill out any information, they're going to turn around and sell that off to there's a whole marketplace that'll buy it. They make more money off your inquiry than they would you actually doing a loan with them. And so there's an information thing out there and you're going to get hounded. You're going to get bombarded. They're going to be showing up at your house. And some of these aren't even legitimate offers. So be careful. Don't over pursue it. And I don't care how many do not call lists you get on there. They punch through those using loopholes, using foreign countries. Just call Stockton, get on savewithstockton.com, and then you can deal with it in a more personal way. Y'all can sit down and talk about things before you make an application, and they can work very much directly on what it is you want to do. And they've got all the information in the world about all the loan programs and products that can get you to the closing table, get you to the finish line, make that dream happen for whatever it is you want to do at your place. It's savewithstockton.com. That's the easiest way to get them. They set that site up just for people in this audience. And so use it. I'm not saying they treat this audience with a little more favor, but I just know they answer the phone pretty quick when they know that people are reaching out through the connection to the show, because it's been a good partnership for years. So y'all reach out to them and let them just help you. So many scenarios. Everybody's got a different situation. Let them help solve that puzzle at savewithstockton.com. All right, let me see who we got left. Is it Henry? Henry, UFOs, spirits, haints, ghosts, demons. It's all been on the show tonight. What are you thinking?
30 minutes, huh? I can't believe you saved that just for me.
Well, I want to give you plenty of time, so we got a few minutes. Go, man.
Okay, well, I'll call back on Monday then. No,
keep going.
You're doing a great job. I'm glad you're, even your questions were excellent. But I have a problem with somebody telling me I have to love everybody. So I have to, I just stick to my core. So you go to Romans chapter 12, verse 18. It's very important. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. It's not possible because there's a controversy in this vehicle, which I call interdimensional vehicles. They are not unidentified. Now, I can't prove this, but I can give verses about the 9 dimensions. I know we see in, 3 dimensions in some cases, 4 in others, but you understand what I'm saying when I say there's other dimensions than the one we're in. There's one dimension where flesh cannot enter, and that's where heaven is located. And wherever God is, that's where heaven is. But I had to get that off my chest about the if possible. So we do the best we can as Christian men and women and children of God, and we lived in Christ's shadow and in us, that we try our hardest. You think the enemy is trying hard to get along with us at all? I don't think so, Leland. I think we're a bomb, and they try to kill us all the time because they don't like that name, Jesus Christ. Anyway, these vehicles, and I told you before, they are the color of amber. The word color is not in the Hebrew alphabet. I hate to get along that. I know it's confusing to some, so it's really
a little bit
kind of ugly of me to. Yeah, there's no word for it. So what you're looking for when you see one of these vehicles, and now I have to preface. I'll also say there's other vehicles, and they're identified as horses. There's a speckled horse. There's another amber, other horse colors, because as a white horse, pale horse, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, those are vehicles, and those vehicles, they contain our fellow brethren. They're not aliens. there's people just like us, as far as we can use the word people. Some people call them angels, which means a messenger. They're simply, when you're called an angel, that means God said, hey, I got a message for you to deliver. And here, take it with you and go tell them I said this. Now, and when God wants to talk to you, he comes in with the angel of the Lord, which that means that he takes over you, just like the Holy Spirit on Pentecost Day takes over people and speaks through people on that day. Anyway, I'm getting off subject.
I'm listening. Keep going.
The Nephilim are called in Genesis 6 Nephilim. And, it means fallen ones. In other words, the rebellious ones, those who rebelled against God with their leader, Satan, Abaddon. He has all these different names, 8 and 9. Don't let me confuse you, which men do all the time, and I'm guilty right now of doing it, getting off subject. But now they were destroyed by the flood. But there was a second influx, and they had to be destroyed. And they became the people of Canaan. They had to be destroyed by the sword of Israel. And then the third influx is coming. Paul warns us in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, and the entire chapter is about the fallen angels and how we have to keep Christ above our head. One verse helps you bring it out. But the manuscripts are really good in this. And a good set of manuscripts, we have manuscripts that are older than the Torah, older than anything on the planet. In the Greek, I've done some. I'm losing the names in my head.
That's okay.
Anyway, what's the important part is that there's a third influx coming. And women, he says, keep the power above your head. That's the best verse that coincides with that information. That you will lose the power.
Henry, we're losing your phone call, buddy. It's really difficult to hear you right now. Yeah. The signal's bad, and I know you're very earnest in what you're saying, but it's getting hard to hear.
Oh, darn it.
I'll tell you what, Henry, I'm gonna let AJ put you. AJ, stick Henry on hold real quick. Henry, just tap the brakes just for a second. Let's see if maybe that line clears up. We'll take a local break. I want Henry to, I know he's passionate about this stuff, and suddenly it comes up today because of stuff our government's doing. And I want to hear him out. And you too, if you want to get a call in before this is all over. It's been fascinating. It's a little bit of a different show than what we normally do. Y'all, real quick, Distinctive Pools, as we head towards summer. Maybe you've always had this little dream or just this idea that you could build a pool for the family. And, I always talk about when I first met Gary, he would tell me, people will sit on this decision for a long time. And I thought, I'm sure it's a big decision, but think of all that time you miss if you wait 3 to 5 years to finally pull the trigger or sit around and talk yourself out of it. YOLO, man, get this done. Here's a company that can come out and quickly get you a plan for a beautiful pool and outdoor living. If you want to combine the two with the hardscape living rooms and kitchens and pizza ovens or whatever it is you can dream up. They've got so many ideas for the outdoors. It's distinctivepools.com. Gary alone has 40 years in this business. Then he's got his whole team around him. I think if you added it all up, it's 100 plus years of pool building experience, and these guys will come out and do it right, make it look like it belongs on your house. You'll be so proud of it. And they've got finance companies to help you make this happen. Distinctivepools.com. Distinctivepools.com. All right, 10 minutes before the hour, several calls stacked up. So let me just move on. Usually I love to hear Chris Knight sing that one, but we got to go, man. Alabama Bass, another sponsor here on the show. We've been talking about it all week. It's not just aging in place and typical immobility that can come from all that stuff. Sometimes you've got family members that are, still young, but there are disabilities involved, and it's hard to get in and out of there and get refreshed and clean, with your independence. So just know that these systems that they put in an Alabama Bath can help solve that too for all kinds of families that have a need for facilities that are just easier and safer to use. And they love just changing spaces like that and watching a family just get so much relief from the thought of being able to get in there on your own, by yourself, butt naked, get clean, feel good. That's just one of the best parts of the day. Alabama Bath's been around for years and years. And we'll keep going. Jill is taking over and keeping things moving for the family business, and John's alongside her. And by the way, veterans, there are benefits available to you. Some of these big corporate high pressure companies, they're not going to waste a lot of time trying to get you through the funding process. Alabama Bass will help you with that. They understand the rules. They'll wait for you to get everything worked out, and it can be a little bit laborious, but the government, because you earned it, may be able to pay for this upgrade to your home. It's alabamabass.com, alabamabass.com. All right, Henry, let me give you a couple more minutes. If your phone line is clear, we started losing you there, buddy. Let's get you in here. We got Dwayne and a couple others trying to talk about this UFO thing. Henry, keep going, man.
I'm trying to go a little faster. I do want to mention one verse. It was 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 10. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angels. They're coming back. And that's what piqued my interest about these new UFO reports. But they're not unidentified to God. He gives us their identity. Also, in Revelation, it's a chapter 11. 7,000 of them, they kill a few witnesses, the sons of oil. They kill those two witnesses. They lie in the street for 3.5 days. Then God says, come up. He comes and gets them. And when they rise, everybody craps their pants. They're really scared. And because they know it's coming now, right, Leland? Anyway, 7,000 men die in the street. Those men are angels. And they're called Nephilim in the manuscript. And I just wanted to get that out of my
All right, Henry.
brain.
Your phone's still a little bit rough, buddy, and I appreciate you hanging in there to try to finish up with us. Let me get Dwayne in here real quick. We're just running against the clock today. Dwayne in Boaz. What do you know, Dwayne?
Hey, man, I was just going to touch in on the book of Enoch there just a little bit because, I don't know if those guys actually read any of it. I have, and it's just Enoch's account. The original text in the actual scriptures talk about how Enoch was taken. Doesn't see death. He's just gone. He just he left and went with God in that manner. So that was kind of an interesting point. So that's why I was only interested even reading it myself was to that point, and it's his account of, so when the angels came and they slept with the human women, they lusted after them and all that, well, they had the Nephilims and all that, they had the giants and whatnot, and that kind of thing. So the point is that it was his account of the fact that they had sinned against God, they could no longer look at God, and they asked Enoch to give God a message for them to try to convince him to show mercy. And we know he didn't. And so Enoch was taken around. Several of the other angels like Michael and Gabriel. There was an angel Uriah. There was an angel Raphael. All of these angelic beings took Enoch through a journey that he accounted and wrote down of just this stuff of him. He saw the tree of life. He saw the tree of knowledge, and all that stuff. And so, I mean, it's just really an account of everything that he saw, and he wrote it down. And it's a very interesting book. It's got some wild stuff in it, for sure. Not going to say that it's notable for the fullness of the scriptures and all that kind of stuff, but it is an interesting read. I will say that.
All right, man. We've had a lot of info on that tonight, Dwayne. Keep going, man. I'll give you a couple more minutes.
All right. Well, anyway, the biggest deal is when he actually approached God and asked God, "Hey, this is what these guys are asking for. What do you think?" And he's like, "No, they're going to watch their children die in front of them." Is basically what God told them. Because of the evil that they had done by giving humanity the knowledge that they had given them, because they're the reason for sorcery, they're the reason for the iron working and all that kind of stuff. They actually shared all this knowledge with humanity that God wasn't ready for us to actually obtain at the time.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit of that earlier today. One lady said it was, thanks, Dwayne. Just got to run, buddy. I'm sorry, I hate to rush people. I don't think he could hear me. One lady today said they also gave it. Hey, did you hear the lady that said that they gave us makeup? And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm going to use that to my advantage. Next time we're running late and she's in there doing all that stuff, I'm like, the book of Enoch says you don't even need to do that. Here's Lance. Let's get Lance in here. Lance, you're going to have to go fast, man. I got a whole 2 minutes for you. What you got, Lance?
Yeah, I was just going to say, the number one thing about the book of Enoch, it was very popular. It was almost like a pulp kind of book. A lot of people, they found a lot of fragments of texts of people basically that had mentioned it that in passing, like common people. So it was kind of something people had on their bookshelf for 200 years around that era. And first thing he says is, "Hey, I'm Enoch," and guess what? It wasn't written by Enoch. So that's just something people need to look into and think about a lot harder before they can start, actually trusting it.
Well, I'll tell you what, as soon as this UFO stuff got released, everybody went straight to the book, and we've almost talked about it for 3 straight hours.
Right now it's bad with the Tartaria and the Facebook groups with this stuff. And I just heard about some stuff that I thought I was aware of all the conspiracies that were real big out there. I didn't know all the old people on Facebook and stuff had gotten into stuff they don't even understand. And I started doing research on it, and it turns out me trying to learn the history was useless because they don't even know what it is. They just piece about 14 conspiracies together for a new one called Tartaria and Satan's Little Season, which is, I don't know who put this together about 10 years ago, but there's a plastic surgeon here in Birmingham.
What?
Jason Jack, nicest sounding guy.
All right, I'll tell you what, we'll pick this up on Monday. I gotta scoot, Lance.
Absolutely.
Good stuff
I'll
there.
let you go.
Low context. I like the back and forth though. That's kind of helped me understand where all this stuff is coming from. Real quick, Michael, our friend down at Tapco, he ought to be your service tech. He ought to be your mechanic. In the old days, we called them mechanics. Man, cars are, I say it all the time, they're like rolling computers. Tapco, I believe, is the most advanced service shop in all of Alabama. These guys are on the edge of all of it. There's nothing they can't fix. They can do your routine service that you sort of get in their customer pipeline and whatever you need, brakes, tires, that kind of stuff. But, man, if it's a big deal or a mystery, they can solve it. And it's a completely professional environment. Downtown on 6th Avenue South. If you work anywhere near downtown Birmingham, they'll shuttle you to work, take care of your problem, and get your car back on the road. I remember the first time I met Michael, he said, "I just want people to be in safe cars." So they're gonna check it out right and put you on the road right. You need somebody you trust when it comes to your car repairs. Make that Tapco, TAPCO. Y'all can find them online at tapcobeham.com, tapcobeham.com. Tell Michael I said, hey, maybe we'll see him over at the Jawbone Jam 1 week from tonight. Hope we see y'all too. AJ, I'm going to get out of the way and let Breaking Bread do their thing. Bet y'all don't talk about the book of Enoch whatsoever.
No, we're not. We're going to be at the rodeo in Helena for Mother's Day. Yeah, that's where we're going to be at. So have a good weekend. Goodbye, AJ.